All right, we're officially live. I'm gonna wait a little bit for the numbers to start going up a little bit, and then we'll dive right in. Brandon Philbrick, Gravity Bleeds,
Bango skank.
Bango Skank.
Where my skanksters at?
We're gonna talk about those too. All right, yep. Okay, we're starting to get people coming in. So, all right, guys, welcome to this edition of Face to Face. This episode, I have got Brandon Philbrick, Gravity Bleeds, the man behind the Forever Face the 13th, the man behind the Bango Skank, the man behind your mama. How's it going, Brandon?
Going good, good. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I've been meaning to have you on for a long time. It's just been kind of like a matter of time, a matter of timing, getting us together because you've been doing this mask thing for at least a little while. And I guess we'll kind of start. I'll start at the beginning, and let's first start about how did you find the Zool? Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, that was so shit. Shortly after Almighty came out, and I brought my kids to the Fright Fest tour that came up here to Minneapolis, and it was great. My daughter, was she 17 then, maybe? She painted her face up, dressed up, and my son was like 12, put a Jason mask on. And I've been checking them out, kind of who was on the roster. So I started sampling some of their tunes to get a flavor before the show. And yeah, at first it was like the first reaction was this was what I've been looking for. Like I love horrorcore, and there's a lot of shit, man, and it's hard to get through it. And the fact with the image and the masks and the horror, but still good hip hop, fucking awesome rappers, and the whole cinematic atmospheric thing. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be special. So I brought the kids there. We each got a Zool shirt, and the boys had like dudes as zombies on stage and shit, Yeah. So it was fucking awesome. And that's like, where'd you get that fucking mask? They're selling that mask here? It's fucking awesome. And then it like just grew and continued to become this obsession because it was said that the best thing since Twisted, happened with ICP in the 90s. And yeah, I fucking drove my girlfriend nuts. She Ala Zali Zool. I think she called it Ala Zali Zool for like 2 years. God damn it! You're seeing the words on my shirt.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of like the pronunciation. A lot of people have always makes me cringe. Like even sometimes when they have like the official like advertisements and hearing the people say it, you're like.
Well, and I thought that at first too. Like, what's with this fucking name? Like, nobody's gonna remember that shit. But with the AXE, and then like you already looked it up. I'm trying to figure this out. Like, Alazul and Molazul are Sumerian gods of evil and shit.
Yeah. I think the loose Sumerian translation is gods of evil rise. Yeah,
so that whole thing, and then just with Lovecraft and the horror, and it's brilliant on so many levels, And I come from branding as well. I used to do a lot of that in my former life before he committed suicide and put this fucking mask on. So all those pieces coming together, and it was pretty awesome, which of course led to then, going up to Astronomicon this last year. It's like, I gotta be in this video. Like, this is special that's happening right now.
Yeah, Astro was absolutely insane. You were there, I was there, Pretzel was there, Jay was there, and all of us only loosely knew each other. I don't know if I knew about Philbrick, if I knew about like the Philbrick studio and all that, Gravity Bleeds. I didn't know you personally, and so I probably ran into you multiple times, and we just had no idea who each other were. But before we went live, we were actually talking about like the shooting of the Parish video, which was like an entire ordeal within itself, because a lot of us were tired from driving up there. It was already after a show. So I had driven like, I don't know, 6 hours to get there. And then we wait until the show. Then we go to a live show. Then it's like 1 a.m. when they start. And, and then the boys aren't even there yet. So we had to wait an hour for the boys to show up. It was an entire ordeal. Why don't you tell us about like what your experience was like shooting that video?
Well, I was fucking, yeah, for the length, I think I was sitting next to some girl for like 2 hours before I said a single word to her. I don't know what the fuck to say, you know? And like, hey, so what kind of horror movies you like? She's like, I don't like horror movies. What the fuck are you doing here for this video? And so I'm like, okay, but you know, tried to make friends with her and you know, just hang out. I was eating this fucking hand. See me eating this hand and praying with it and shit during the video. So it was great. I was going all in, you know. And then I met him the next day. I was like, I was the bloody clown eating that hand last night. Like, oh, you're fucking scary. Thank you.
Were you wearing the Bengo skank mask when you did it then?
I was actually wearing one iteration right before this. So part of this whole you know, mask making journey in the Bengo skank thing, like I didn't make a latex mask until May of 2020. So then I went to Astronomicon. I was looking to make a shift and become a full-time artist and tried that thing instead of, you know, just doing it as a hobby. And, you know, I've been putting all my energy into this career of marketing and selling homes to rich people and shit. And I'm like, these aren't my people. This, like, I kind of fit in for a while, but it really doesn't work. And if I'm good at this and don't even really like doing it, but I love this shit and I'm surrounded by monsters everywhere all the time, like what would happen if I tried that full time? And, you know, Astronomicon was part of just that research of, you know, I wanted to tour horror convention circuits and things like that. And fucking Friday the 13th of, you know, when the national emergency was declared, and it was a full moon and a Friday the 13th and the last day of my job there, and that's when I was gonna switch everything with my career. And then of course everything shut down, you know.
Yeah.
So I got drunk and played Nintendo for 2 weeks and just listened to, you know, AXE nonstop and snapped out of that. And it's like, it's not fucking ending. The studio is still closed down. So I was doing the stoneware, you know, stone sculptures before and wanted to do more of that. And I did stone masks. I'm like, how can I do this from home and, you know, still create something permanent if I can't fire these things? And I was looking around and I have masks everywhere. I'd been evolving this Bengo skank character, you know, for the last decade, but just painting and cutting up other people's masks and shit like that. And oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Part of the story, which I guess leads to the Forever Face the 13th, because on Friday the 13th, when all this shit was happening, there's all this energy, you know, like the full moon and fucking being done with, you know, that gig. And actually Friday the 13th, and some of me and my friends were partying here. And that's how you conjure the power of Zool, right? So if all those elements are coming together and everyone takes a half hit of acid, and then you watch Mandy on a projector on mute to, and the Zooligan Death Party playlist. It was like all my favorite tracks, but it was playing on random. But while we were watching fucking Mandy projected on the wall into my basement, AXE is blasting, you know, midnight Friday the 13th, and it's all syncing up, man. I jumped ahead in the movie to right after she gets burned. Spoiler alert. And it's like, you know, we be burning all my life. And like that's happening. and it keeps going. We're looking at each other and looking over, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like the soundtrack to this fucking movie. One friend, he wouldn't even look up at the screen, and then he would, and he'd look at it for like 2 seconds, and it would sync up again. He's like, what the fuck? He was from out of town. He thought we planned it and were punking him and shit, because like all this stuff was so fucking perfect. And then like it was black magic, son. And after that, I went and I started painting some of the plastic Jason masks.
Yeah, I got the.
Yeah,
I think I was one of the first people to buy one. Correct?
Yeah, the first.
Yeah, here it is.
The first one I made. I tried grinding into it and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some of the records I got at Astro, and like just this whole experience led to that. Just listening to these records, locked down, painting these masks. Changed that over to, learning out how to make the latex masks. But it was when I shared those that Alazuli Lou sent me a message on Instagram asking a quote for him and saying how much I loved him. And I'm like, what's going on right now? We've been in prison and house for like 6 weeks or something at this time. It's like, can I figure this out? Can this happen? Can I get 50 of these blank masks to do this and do this drawing over and over and over again? It's like, could we do it in latex? Like, could that work if it was thick enough and got the shape? It might look flimsy, but it's forever face and Jason. These things are kind of supposed to, could work together. So if Jason was to make one that was still kind of plastic, but starting to come alive and be a little bit more of like the living flesh kind of thing, like could this work? And that ended up being fucking this one, which was the very first one I pulled. And then I made 2 of them, was trying to fucking pull it off, see if it could work. Then see, it's like, you know what? These aren't so bad. Working up to this big rant. It was like a fucking, I don't know. It was this big in the text message that I sent to Bill. And shit. But I'm like, hey man, I made these. Do you want to know why I'm jocking your dick so hard? It's because of this Mandy Zool experience that happened. Pretty sure I'm fucking possessed now. And but I made these things. What do you think? He's like, yeah, those are great, man. Let's do it. Like, how much? Let him know. Hooked up on PayPal, and before I knew it, there's a notification in PayPal. Long Live Evil has sent you a payment. Seeing that shit on my phone was fucking unreal. And that is simultaneous joy and, extreme terror at the same time, which is how I like to live anyway. But can I fucking pull this off? Like, whoa, shit. Okay, so how much supplies and fucking, okay, snap straps, fucking all these different things. And that first one was made some mistakes, and that was a hell of a learning curve there, just trying to figure that out. But fucking feels so awesome to continue to work. And he's like, hey, these things happen, maybe try this next time, But other than that, he was, out of it the entire time, and starting to, connect and realize what, Tom was doing, and Pretzel, and these guys at this band gives these artists a platform as well. And it's like, this is so fucking cool, and these being able to do these jobs, because it was a bango that I first sculpted and pulled, and then this was the second latex mask that I had ever made. And
so you just self-taught yourself all that stuff then, right?
Yep, that was the quarantine plan. Because I had all this other art and shit, and I was going to do more of the sculptures and clay masks and stuff like that, but I just didn't have the means. So it's like, how can I bring that in and get all this stuff here and figured out a way to do it in-house. I really wanted to sculpt. I mean, that was the thing, create these sculptures and drive them around. And like, that's the most therapeutic for me. It's digging my knuckles, you know, just 2 knuckles deep into some dead bitch. I mean, fucking clay. And, you know, so it's cool. It's a way to create reproducible art and, you know, continue to do these things. And I'd been trying to be, you know, or scaring kids with this persona and playing out this bango thing for quite a while. And to get out there with a bunch of other misfits and shit and show off our art and be crazy together, it's a perfect fit for me. Not like that corporate life before, you know.
So how did you get into doing like all this art stuff in the first place? Because it seems like you've been doing it for a long time, and it seemed like you said you were self-taught. So I'm curious how, like, what it was that got you to go kind of this whole route in the first place, like before Zool, before any of this stuff, really.
It was my uncle, Craig Johnson. So I think as a kid, he complimented some little Garfield scribble that I did and said it looked good. And then I saw the amazing shit that he was doing, and it was firsthand, you know. And he was really fucking cool, funny, just a great guy. And so that was the thing of saying, okay, I'm going to continue to draw more. You get recognition for that. People, you know, you're the art kid in school. And then my art teacher, he would kind of take me out to the side and give me, let me be in there during my study halls and be a teacher's aide and stuff like that. Even though I was a little like juggalo misfit kid, he's the one. He's like, yeah, I know, you know, these people say you're trouble and all this, and oh, you're smoking outside. Don't be smoking, but you know, maybe this art thing could help you out, and it did. So, and that led to, you know, eventually it's like, well, graphic designer is like the only career around here that's artsy, but you can actually make money at. And you know, there were some drawing and painting classes and some things there as well. But then, you know, the art had always been a hobby. I was always a wannabe artist on the side. And then that career started to dominate and became advertising and marketing and shit. That's where I needed to, you know, just find that true north of it's creating. You know, I need to work with my hands. That's one of the most fulfilling things, whether it's latex, clay, you know, pencils, pens, those kinds of things. I needed to work with my hands and get off that fucking computer. And yeah, at the end of this, I had been working from home 2.5 years already before the pandemic. So kind of just being shut in and living, you know, on these boxes all the time. And then all that art being disposable. It's like, I fucking take that personal and you put, you know, like, kind of when you're passionate about something and you're creating these things for people, but then it all just keeps dissolving and fading away. And now I've infected all your faces with my creations.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to ask a lot of artists about how everything has happened, how the pandemic has affected their art. Because I know for some people it's kind of helped because it's given them fuel, and sometimes I know it could maybe stifle creativity. How has it affected your work? You know?
Oh, it's forced me to make this real. So if this wouldn't have happened, it would have probably been a lot easier to slip back into another safe job. But with this, and you know, I'd been planning this mentally for a few years. I'd tried to do some things, you know, but it was always just that hobby. It was like 3 hours of, you know, art and 60 hours of the other job. So, you know, on the computer. And then looking to flip that, and even though I was still contained in this space, that I was able to, you know, do all these creations and build my own studio. So it kind of forced my hand in that way. And a couple of stimulus checks have helped fucking get me through month to month too, you know?
Yeah.
Savings and tax and some stimulus and long live evil, hanging on. So much happier than selling custom homes to rich people.
So let's talk a little bit about the origin of Bango Skank, because I'll be honest, I had no idea who Bango Skank was, because I've read where you got him from. I guess first kind of tell us about, I guess, your relationship with Bango Skank and where the idea originally came from.
So I'm a huge Stephen King fanatic. That's, AXE and Stephen King would be the two things, I guess the woman would say I'm crazy about, obsessed with. So reading all his books, and then when I got into the Dark Tower series, and that Bango Skank was here, graffiti, it's throughout the books. And then it says, oh, it's in this Peter Straub book, and then they don't say anything about it there. It's this weird kind of, secret thing that's noted, and there's attention drawn to it, but it's never explained. So as a way to kind of bring myself into that universe, I created this Bango Skank as the Crimson King's fucking time-traveling cannibal clown character, and started to build this. I actually have all these. So the first time I tried customizing, making my own mask, I cut the face off a mannequin. And I wore this with coveralls and shit. But I still look like a pretty girl, kind of. It was still a little scary, but not too much. So I tried that for a while. And then I kept going back to this and saying, in the Dark Tower, it's kind of different dimensions, worlds, but some have similar things and shit. So you can have different faces. Then I would cut off and paint old man masks and shit and kind of do that thing. And I'd been just kind of evolving this character for Halloween and, ICP shows and shit like that when I'd go there and other things. And then eventually evolved to this, the one I had at Astronomicon, which ended up painting, customizing so slightly, and getting kind of the best reaction out of that. And while there, when I first walked in, like I said, fucking driving all day in the snow and go and get changed. I'm dripping blood. Walk in there. This dude walks up to me and says, oh, holy shit, I need a picture with you right now. Like, oh, okay. So that was cool. That's how I entered Astronomicon. And Lee Chakowski, shout out to Lee, and kind of, befriended me at that time. So that was cool. And I was telling him about, what I wanted to do as an artist and, have a booth at these things someday. And it's like, you should fucking dress up like that. I'm like, really? Like all the time? It's like, because I want to. But he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So then I'm like, I'm going to continue to create this character, but it always bothered me wearing somebody else's shit. So it's another piece of the motivation to craft every aspect of this and sculpt it on my face so it fits my face perfectly, And so that's been that persona. And I'll put a all hail the Crimson King banner up and build a pet cemetery out front and shit. Being this cannibal clown and, traveling through the Dark Tower universe of sorts.
So you plan on doing like a, hypothetical 2.0, or I don't know what, you're probably on like a 4.1 or whatever at this point. You plan on updating the sculpt and doing new things with it?
Yep. So to continue to evolve this, there's going to be another iteration, and a little more grotesque and twisted to evolve that. I'm making one for my daughter as well. So I have a life cast of her face that I'm sculpting on. So that'll be a bit shorter and smaller for the ladies and our tiny faced friends. And that one I want to have little horns. So like these have, like these staples coming out. I'm going to do that and have the couple horns popping out of the top of them. So yeah, definitely continuing to evolve this character and the persona. I mean me, and push this thing as part of, I like to make things look cool and look weird, and it's part of it all.
Yeah, people love their horned. So if you make a horned Bango Skank mask, those things will sell like hotcakes. I can tell you that right now. Since you brought up that you were sculpting something with your daughter, I have to mention, I noticed a while ago you were sculpting what kind of looked like a Donna the Dead mask. Can you say anything about that mask, or is that something you're doing for the boys?
Not specifically with their knowledge, but kind of each time I ship an order back, I'll throw in a side project or something else I've been working on so they can see it firsthand. And keep fingers crossed. They'll be like, "Hey, that was cool. Like, yeah, let's do some more of those." So that was the idea: is creating, sending one of those along with the shipment of Forever Face the 13th over to them, and be like, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I did this on a life cast, more of a female kind of iteration." But that was the thing, listening to that song, and it'd be like, "This would be so cool." And have like fleshy like straps that'll be tied behind, and some of the beauty, but then growing to the rot, still keeping the things stitched together. But I broke that fucking mold.
Oh,
So you saw the video. I was attempting plaster of Paris. Shouldn't attempt. It's not worth the savings. And I didn't have the armature sealed enough, so some of it stuck, and I broke it into 4 different pieces. I tried to fucking seal it back up again and stuff, and trying to save it, but no. But I'm gonna resculpt it, and that's gonna be my next release, kind of the next thing that will be a new design that people will see.
Yeah, so you didn't pull anything from that yet, you hadn't pulled anything before you broke it?
No, that was the very first one. So fucking with that plaster of Paris shit anymore. But saying that's like learning this new medium. So latex, for me, as well as the latex paint, and then just the process of dremeling, cutting, working with it, the plaster. And I've made a lot of fucking mistakes, and I'm not done yet. I usually try to make them work, but that one I was not able to make work.
Yeah, because that's kind of what happened with like the first run of the Forever Face the 13th masks. I know he kind of added the disclaimer to the listing that some of them. Did that happen all in shipping, or was that just like your kind of learning curve that happened with that one?
All of the above. So
Yeah.
as I was so when I first pulled this, I sculpted over this blank Jason mask that I have. I literally put the clay right over it so that I could align the holes, and I kind of stretched it out, but I used that as my hole guides. So I had these deep holes through the clay, through the plastic mask, and when I made the mold of that, the holes are breaking off for little nubbins and shit. So that wasn't happening. At first, I was fucking at a leather punch and was punching out the holes and then dremeling out the holes and stuff just to make those work. And I was running into a lot more challenges than I had foreseen with just the mass production. It's one thing to make 1 or 2 awesome masks. It's different to make 10, 20, and then it's, you're getting to 50. And so the last thing is I was just, doing that blood on the back edge of those first ones. And then I'd stack like 2 together and shipped them out. And I think they probably sat like that, so it was in shipping, but then they just sat so that perma blood, stuck to the perma blood behind it. So that was happening because I'd do like 2 or 3 at a time, and so that's what happened there. And just kind of rushing it out, but then the pressure and the sitting and shipping and stuff as well.
Yeah. So I don't know how many people know this, but I know with your second run, you did like a completely different sculpt, and you did a completely different sculpt with the mausoleum variant, correct?
Right.
And so did you sculpt those any different? Did you do it the same way with the mask, sculpting over the mask, or how did you do the second run?
Yeah, no mask anymore. And so I made sure to keep those holes nice and save a lot of time. And yeah, that was just straight sculpting over my face, using the other ones as a reference, trying to match them up, but then also trying to evolve them a little bit. So part of what you're going to see with the new one is I'm hoping that they can become a bit more almost lifelike and decayed each time. This first one, it's more the mask, almost like the mask itself is coming to life. So last round, a little crack over here. Now it's opened up a bit more, and I like to sculpt it each time to get that practice. And I haven't quite figured out whatever Tom's process is for creating reproductions of the one. And I asked him now some new materials and shit. So but then things shrink and stuff. So I'm like, each round, I'm going to sculpt a new one. So each version may be a carryover of, some mass from a previous mold if it has any life left in it. And then there'll be a new sculpt each time that hoping to keep evolving a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea because I know one of the problems that P has is that after you use a mold so long, it eventually starts to kind of deteriorate, and you kind of have to move on. So the fact that you're kind of doing a different sculpt each time, you're kind of staying ahead of the game in that fact. So you said you have done a different sculpt for this upcoming run, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Would you like to see it sometime?
Yeah, let's see what's coming up next, guys.
Well, first, I forgot I was going to lead in with this one. But this one there's going to be a new sticker and shit as well. But this was one of, my first or second runs that I hung on to. And with this one, it got too thin on the sides. So I cut it out, did some customizing to it, was still able to make that work. Yes.
All right. There it is. Oh, yeah, there it is. Nice. You can see the yeah.
So yeah, with this one, I got a little mouth cane out of the side.
Oh yeah, there's little teeth on there. Isn't that what that is? Yeah.
So I'll post some better pictures and things of this after this as well, and tag it out there. But that's the idea. So maybe some of the this one will start to grow out next time, and hopefully looking to evolve that. And I'm having still kind of just nailed down the paint scheme. Just looking at the other 8-bit, should it have more of the black in it? Should it not? It's kind of just the two colors, and just looking to still have it in line with those other 8-bits in that color scheme, but do something a little different with it.
Yeah, because you did a very small run of 8-bits, correct? Like you did I don't know how many, like 2 or 3 maybe? How many did you do previously?
Yeah, I think I just did 2 throughout the end of the first run. Like you were saying, talking about the mold wearing out, and the longer it sits, the faster it'll wear out. So those were sitting for like 3 hours. And imagine my terror when I get to like 30 masks and it's starting to wear out and the details wearing and shit, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what the hell? But then I hung on to some of the ones that I was a bit unsure about, and then those became the variants at the end as I started experimenting with them. A lot of things seem like they're done for, and by the time I find a way to make it work, because each of those pieces of latex is very valuable. And yeah, through that process, I'm like, hey, if you like these, great. If you don't, I'll make 5 more different ones. And so I don't know. I was kind of sending a lot of those different things along and saying, hey, check this out. Let me know what you think. You go like, looks good. I'm like, well, okay. Some had straps on the outside, some on the inside. Then there was the small one with the one on the top.
Yeah.
And then there was some of those variants. And I'm like, hey, I just had it was hard to do everything exactly the same.
Yeah. So are you doing any of those 8-bits a little bit different? Like, as I know, so far, every run that you've done, you've did, like the first one you're talking about, you did different straps, different sizes. Some were blood soaked, some weren't. The second run, you did the mausoleum variant. So are you doing a different variant with the 8-bit as well?
This will be from 2 molds, but the same color scheme. So it'll be 50 in the 8-bit color scheme, but only a portion of them, maybe 30 of them will have the mouth.
Okay.
Well, so it's more in the form of it.
So some of them will have a different sculpt, is what you're saying, right?
Yep.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen this thing floating around or in the images, but I'm making some of these as well.
Oh, nice.
But
the horns.
I like that. So, yeah, like I did that Long Live Evil thing.
What are you going to make those out of? Are you going to make those out of, like, what kind of material are you going to shoot for?
Latex. Yeah, this is latex.
Oh, it's latex. Okay.
Yep.
It doesn't look like, it looks real kind of heavy, kind of the way you're holding it.
I know, it's sculpture, but I filled this with foam. I was experimenting with that. So I don't know what he's doing with them. What we're gonna do? He called them trophies once. I don't know shit. I've never even talked to this guy on the phone before. So, but yeah, Billy Obey gave me a hand job. So,
and that's the hand sculpt of it. You casted his hand, right as it was on the.
This is my,
yeah.
I want people to think it's Billy Obey's hand.
Yeah.
Ladies that get freaky with it.
Yeah.
That's fun to imagine happening. Now I can be like, no, it's my hand.
We'll start the rumor. We'll start the rumor that it's Billy Obey's hand.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah. So you also did the I know I talked about you before this stream, but you didn't know what I was talking about. Are the Rot Rockets that are on the store right now, the keychains, correct?
Yes. Yep. So that was another little thing working through with Rick Mole. Some of those Zool heads. I think they need little hats, maybe too.
Yeah, the little 2.1s. Are those latex as well?
Yep. Yeah, everything. That's what I'm trying to master now. It's like when you're moving through these different mediums, and instead of, I think my learning curve was expedited because having some previous experience with other shit, but working with this and understanding its capabilities and what to do with the molds and shrinkage and how it's affected and how it can still move after it's pulled and what are the capabilities of it. Can it go solid, not, like all that. So I've been really just focusing on that and seeing what I can do with latex right now as I continue to learn it, because I ruined a lot of fucking masks, like pulling them out too soon or hanging them wrong, and they just get a little distorted as they would cure more. And just be popped out a little bit and like weird little things like that, and it's like, oh shit. And that just continuing to learn working with this medium, and that's just cool. I'm trying fucking eyes, hands, horns, keychains, the lighters, as you know. So yeah, we did these lighters.
Yeah.
Hands,
the Necronomicron lighters.
And then, and that was an idea from Billy. He's like, hey, yeah, I like what you're doing. Maybe we can do lighter cases, like a Tome of the Black Tongue, like he's throwing out some things, and I'm kind of thinking of what I can do and just giving it a shot. Like, I didn't think this fucking, this was going to work. I wasn't sure if the lighter thing would work. And I kept pulling this off, and girlfriend, like, you're really lucky. Like, how many times do I got to get lucky before I can pretend I know what I'm doing. And then I fuck something up, and it's like, well, maybe you're right.
So since you mentioned, I think that I don't remember if this is exactly what I remember seeing from you first, but the Book of Zool that you posted a while ago, that was sick. Are you still working on that? Because I think the last post I seen that you posted it, you said you were kind of working on it, putting lyrics and more drawings in it. Are you still working on that?
Yeah, on the side, what I have done is the actual book. The first time, that was a cut up mask I was glued on a Bible, and I made an ear for it and shit, and kind of just did the one drawing. And then after I sculpted the piece, if you've seen that kind of airbrushing that book with Zool on the spine, I did a bloody flesh variant and wrapped a cigar box I had that the Book of Zool fit in. So it's like the box of Zool, big heavy thing. I'll share some pics of that too. But I actually sent that off to the church as a thank you to them. Haven't figured out a way to kind of print it and make the actual book and make it, feasible right now, price and time wise. And yeah, hopefully someday we're gonna do that. And yeah, I'd love to have it be like a lyric book or something of like all of their songs, and working through that and looking like a Bible. And then there's naked dead bitch over here, and then there's lyrics of this one, and then there's fucking devil orgy over there, stuff like that.
Yeah, it reminded me exactly of the Evil Dead special editions that came out a while ago that were like the Necronomicon books that had like I think those were latex as well, and you open it up and they had the drawings by Tom Sullivan in there and the little like weird font that they had and you could read through it and stuff. I think that would be cool if you kind of created a special font for the Book of Zool, and did it throughout.
Oh, I want to like hand draw everything in that, or maybe even make it a collaborative thing from other artists and get photos of Zooligans or some shit. I don't know. There's a lot of potential with that. That would be cool to do. Yeah, and hand draw everything would be ideal. So that's still back of the mind, kind of on the shelf for now, making progress. But yeah, hopefully I'm hoping it shows up in a video or something someday. Because that kind of takes it back to Astronomicon, watching the video. And had a regular Bible. That's when I'm like, God, they should have a better book for this shit. There should be an actual Book of Zool fucking with us that's covered in flesh. And I thought of that box coming up out of the dirt and opening it and taking the book out for a tome of the Black Tongue kind of thing. So someday.
Yeah, because in the video, Joe and the boys are up on stage and they have this wayward soul that's crippled go up on stage, and Joe takes a Bible and just smack. That guy was a trooper too that took the fall for that.
Oh, yeah, that was a good fucking fall.
Yeah, he took that bump like a pro. Smacked him in the head with the Bible, and he just went. Pfft. But that's the Bible that Brandon's talking about from Astronomicon. So do you see yourself doing like more? You got the Bango Skank. Do you see yourself doing any more like original type characters? Like doing kind of different masks because P is doing kind of his 4 Horsemen line. Do you have anything like that planned?
Definitely, that's kind of one of the main goals of 2021. Now is I got this foundation, the experience in, and now I want to do a new one every month. I'm going to release a new design of a mask. The Bango new additions will be in, but then, because that's going to get me sculpting. And like I said, that's the thing. I want to create gorier, fucked up, just rotting shit. Yeah, this one. You guys seen this before? Oh, fuck it up. Mr. Bones!
There it is.
people can't talk in this, you know, or
Yeah.
drink. Is there from? My buddy had me cut the teeth out, fucking ruined it. So I waited.
I guess
Yeah.
you could put like a little, how this one has the little slit in it right here. Maybe you could do something with that like that.
Yeah. That's kind of my, kind of like a mushroom head.
Yeah, that's exactly actually what it reminds me of, kind of the mushroom head thing.
And then the Pennywise, I had sculpted, and another thing I did in clay before going to latex. And I had a sculpture very similar to that I just made this big stone mask out of down at the studio downtown here. And I put that together, and people kept saying, like, oh, that should be a mask. I'm like, you can't wear it, dude. It's a rock. And I'm saying, well, maybe I'll try to pull it off. And so that was, just my other design. But it's really been just the bangos, a few of those in different variants, and then all the other painted hockey masks and stuff that I've been doing. It's kind of been, you know, what 2020 held, and then the 3 variations of, you know, the Forever Face the 13th ones. So that's where I'm getting in, that sculpting and, you know, getting my hands dirty with those things. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more to come.
I've seen some people suggest that maybe like a variation on kind of what you're doing with the Forever Face the 13th, where maybe you do one with like a Myers mask, or one with like a, you know, maybe a Kruger mask, or another maybe like horror themed, you know, mask. Have you thought about doing that? Is that ever something that you've looked into?
I definitely want to do something a bit different, from the Jason mask with the Forever Face kind of feel, to do something more official with them. With another character, I haven't thought about that, but there is a piece where I just want to get more of a zombified look, and going in more the direction of what you're wearing right now. You know, it was an experiment of how to push and do some gorier things, and maybe even, you know, this bango getting more stitching and put together and stuff as well. So
Yeah, I was about to suggest that you consider doing kind of the bango in the Forever Face style. This is actually really close to, like, if people are familiar with the Blood Spilla Forever Face, this has got almost the exact same color scheme. As soon as I saw this one, I had to scoop it up. It was too sick. It was too macabre to pass up, you know.
And speaking of different masks and shit and what's going on, so I have this here to celebrate the color scheme of the new Forever Face the 13th Part 3. And I'm practicing on a bango face. Here got some splatter and kind of more rubbed off, messy look. I'm going to give this away to one of y'all. So I have a sign up on my website, and then I can spam you with pictures of my dog's butthole. Or, just kidding, all the masks updates that are coming. So when there's a new one out, I'll fucking shoot that out to you guys first. But right there at philbricks.com, there's a form that'll put you on my list. But win one of these, the 8-bit.
The 8-bit Bango Skank. And when is the drawing for that one going to come up then? When are you going to choose the winner for that one?
Next Friday.
There you go. There you go, guys. So what's it? Philbricks.com with an X?
Yep. With an X in your motherfucking forehead.
Yeah, he's on. You could probably, if you have any trouble with that, on your Instagram, I'm sure you've got a link for that site too and everything.
Yeah, be able to
which I would highly suggest following him on Instagram, because that's where he posts like all the new masks that are going in the store. He posts all the variants that are coming out. It's where I originally found him at. The Book of Zool picture, he's still got that up on there. He posts like all his new art projects up on his Instagram. So I highly suggest go following him on Instagram.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the main channel. I've been pushing out to Philbrick Studios on Facebook and shit like that. But I focus on the Instagram as Gravity Bleeds. the most.
So I guess that's something I could ask. Like, are you going under? Because I know you have Philbrick Studios, and then you have Gravity Bleeds. Is Gravity Bleeds like your character name, or is that
He's the artist?
okay?
And, you know, again, I'm trying to pretend to be a rock star here, right?
Yeah.
Multiple names, AKA Philbrick Studios. So part of the vision, that's really the home. You know, Gravity Bleeds, AKA my ass, is like the only artist there now. But I wanted this hub where all these other things could do, and if you know, other, you know, DIY artists or friends of mine, you know, kind of just have a hub to start pushing shit out, and, you know, collaborate with other people, have art nights here and things like that. So it's been kind of the thing with the studio. And plus I was doing freelance design on the side, and I'd started this group on Facebook freaking 10 years ago called Indie Raps. So there's these little things that I was doing with the art and music and, you know, with design, and kind of studios place to pull it all together. So that's, you know, it's kind of my physical place. Gravity Bleeds as the artist for it. Brandon, he's like the human guy that does design work and shit sometimes. And then
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Gravity and Bango Skank. And yeah, Bango creates the carnage and chaos and brings the flesh back. Brandon helps create it. Bango continues to help push it, you know, so he can stay, keep his fill of babies for himself, you know, the best. And yeah, just kind of how that works. Confused yet?
All right. So, do you have anything else you want to tease, or you felt like you teased enough for tonight? You have any, like, maybe something else upcoming that you can tease that's coming out, or?
No, I had more show and tell. So
There
this
we go.
thing today, right? Oh, people are like, what the fuck? I got my foot in the face.
Yes, yes. Saw that post.
Yeah, it's a rock, but it does hang on the wall. But the thing with this, so this is when I just started listening to him, and, you know, was looking up videos and shit. And when I was down in the basement of the studio downtown, they didn't have any internet. So I'm like, I know they're stitchy, and I kind of had, you know, the blend of the two masks in my head. So that's the image that came out with, really without any references or anything, and was the first piece of AXE art I ever did. And they actually responded to me on that one too. They're like, hey, where's ours? And I'm like, I can't make more. What the fuck? But yeah, it's not a mask, and that's why it's the legend of Forever Face, because it's like a totem that the forgotten peoples made, you know, that's left behind. That's like an abstract representation of what once was, maybe.
It's like a pre-internet sculptor.
Yeah. Says that. I wanted to show you my other favorite mask. I didn't make this one, but another one I customized that I find hilarious. You ready, fuckos?
Here we go. Oh yes, I've seen that mask on. It was your.
Hi, I can't hear you. I'm gonna like to wear both of these. Fill this up.
That was your Who's Your Daddy mask, correct?
Inspired by, shouldn't say, Lidsey B's brother. This dude came over, he's wearing a stocking hat. I gotta tell the story. It's funny. He's wearing a stocking hat, and it's got, like, you know, these spots pushing out on the sides of his hat. And I'm thinking he's a hippie and he has dreadlocks or some shit, you know, that are tucked under there. It's making this beanie wrap around. Like, what you rocking under the hat there, man? What's going on? And he's like, oh, it's just my ears. And he pulls it off, like, BAM! Put the hat back on, man. I thought you had dreadlocks or some shit. But,
That's pretty bad.
And yeah, that's it for the show and tell, I guess. Oh, you've probably seen these paintings.
Yeah, the paintings. Yeah, that painting right there is really dope.
That I worked on, I don't know, for a few months, for a while, if you're listening to them. Just fucking driving my girlfriend nuts, Zolly Zoo shit.
Yeah.
Then after I started working with them, I'm like, see? Fucking told you shit would pay off.
Yeah, I was about to say, it all paid off in the end.
You should maybe try to work for some other bands. I'm like, you should try find another place to live. Not happening. Plus, I don't have the power, the drive and passion to do shit for anyone else, So it's weird. It's there. I kid, I joke, but I don't know, man. Again, full moon, Friday the 13th, Mandy, Zooligan Death Party playlist. Look it up, put it on random, see what happens.
I was gonna say, if you have that playlist, we should hook everybody up with that so they can watch Mandy and experience what you experienced.
All right, try. I was trying to figure out a way if I could recreate it after, but I jumped to a random spot and the playlist was on random as well. So I'm like, oh, what the fuck? There's even you got to this other part. In Knox, crawl space, and he's like the end of Manny's like going into that crawl space in the tunnel and shit. But then there's this part where his voice distorts and get all crazy, so he's rapping on, and then it starts to go, and it's actually in the song. But that was happening. It's like, oh, fucking you guys seeing this? What the fuck, man? But that was actually in the song too. But it just
remind me of something that I wanted to talk to you about.
No,
your Rumble in the Alley entry. That was. I think you got third place in the alley the last year, correct? Was it third? Second place. Yes.
Yeah.
So can we expect to see maybe a resurrected Bango Skank Gravity Bleeds for Rest Zool Mania that's going to be coming very shortly?
Ooh, Rest Zool Mania, yes. Oh, and now I guess my Zooligan name could be Zooligan Beef Supreme. Billy has called me Zooligan Supreme and the Tits. So the Zooligan Supreme makes me think of Beef Supreme, an Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Beef Supreme. So Zooligan Beef Supreme, so I can bring that back. But yeah, that was fun. I treated that shit like a goddamn movie shoot. Script and shit. I spent a whole day adjusting the lighting and trying to get it right. And I set up a teleprompter for myself.
Well, it paid off. You got second place.
Yeah. Got a nice etching from this D. Hayes, right?
D. Hayes, yep. Zooligan D. Hayes.
Thank you. I really wanted a pretzel mask as well. That was a big motivation.
Yeah, this year there might be a special mask up for grabs. Don't want to say too much, but it's gonna be bigger and badder than it was last year, guys. That's for sure.
All right. Fuck yeah, I'll be there, yelling, cussing. Be better this time.
Yeah, we want to see everybody come back. Stitchy D. We want to get the Necronoma creature.
So that first round, I didn't know if I should be talking about these masks that I was making. And so the first round, I didn't share anything, fucking single pick. There's a few people in messaging and stuff be like, hey, you kind of look at this that I'm working on. But I wasn't sure if, I should have been sharing the shit. So that's where that concept was like, if, again, Zooligan Beef Supreme is talking shit about Jason kills his ass, but then it teased the mask right at the end there. Killed them, but it combined their powers into one fucking so there's a Dr. Satan moment there. I
Yeah, I didn't even catch that reference. I even like after the fact, I didn't even think back to that was actually a pretty good way of teasing it.
So, like, I won't say it yet, but I'm gonna just put this flash here and see what happens. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, last year was like crazy. I mean, this next one coming up is going to be even bigger, I think, in terms of people participating and stuff. Because last year was huge. Got even more people in the alley now. We're really close to hitting that 2,000 member mark. I think we're like 20 people away from hitting 2,000.
All
So
right.
we're right on that cusp. We're right there.
Oh, it's a great place, man. It's awesome what you guys are doing, and it's thanks to like Zool Jersey Devil. It's another guy reaching out to me back in the day. With back in the day, well, fucking 4 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Just starting to connect with people has been really fucking cool, and yeah, even my girlfriend's into it now, and so she knows what the name is. Finally, it only took her 2.5 years.
Yeah, hey, as long as she gets it down. Yeah, it was like you said. It was like we were both talking about. I think before we started, we said we both went to Astro kind of by ourselves because we didn't really know anybody, and now it's like we've got a whole community of people here that are all into the same thing as much as we are. Now it's like you're never gonna go to a show by yourself. You're never gonna go to Astro by yourself. There's always gonna be somebody from the alley that's gonna be there. And that's kind of always been, I think, the goal of the alley is to create a community of people who are into the music, who love the masks and everything else. And yeah,
Well,
that's
the masks are like always about the music first, right?
yeah, it's masks then music. You gotta masks, music, and then super famous fun time guys are at the very bottom.
Music is always number one. Should be.
Yeah.
But with that, fucking.
We're talking about Astro in the alley, so.
I don't know. That one's fucking gone. But
yeah, we've been going about an hour now, so we'll probably start.
With going to Astronomicon, I was like, trying to convince people to come to this, and it's like, oh, Twisted and AXE, and like, who? It's like Awazali Zoo. And fucking, it's like, goddamn, I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing shit anymore because I can't find other people to do it with. And if you don't feel it or get it, like, sucks to be you. But yeah, I'm gonna fucking still do this shit, and it was so worth it. And,
I was the same way for a long time where like I didn't go to shows for years because I didn't know anybody anymore. Like all the friends that I had that were into the shit when I was all fell off. And that was kind of happening for a long time. But when AXE came around, it was just like that. For me, it was that reignition of like, this is why I started loving this music in the first place.
Exactly.
And we've got the horde is growing.
And yeah, it's like it's hard to say exactly what it is because it's a lot of different things, right, that come together with this music. But like all the different elements, it's fucking it's the fucking best. And yeah, that's cool because reignited it for me too.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. So why don't you plug some of your stuff, and maybe if you want to tease anything else, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. No. Instagram, Gravity Bleeds. Pretty much anything you see that's Gravity Bleeds, or hashtag Bango Skank was here is on me. Was this spelled correctly? There's no U and Z or nothing like that. It's and Philbricks with an X. If you can't find that, then you're not allowed to enter anyway. Oh, but when you sign up, you have to verify your email to make it legit, and you'll get mask updates and pictures of my dog's butthole. It's kind of fascinating. She's got like this growth coming off it. I'm just kidding. And then yeah, more masks. The Forever the Face, the third part 3. Gonna be a couple more weeks yet before those get out, and then I have no idea when those will be dropping. But there'll definitely be more work coming out of here, my hands, my ass, the studio for the boys, and yeah, just appreciate all the support, man. There's a lot of guys, fucking Dub, Deadlight, Zool, the Monster, Rob Gore. I got some shout outs. Filthy Odds, some of you guys, Dark Side. These guys have been fucking just keep me going. It's really cool. You know, this is what I've wanted to do for a long time and didn't have the courage to do it. And now it's happening and there's no fucking stopping. So yeah, just appreciate the love, man, the support, and it's good to see such good things that can come out of such wicked shit. Right?
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, like we said, praise Zool. Yeah, so thanks Brandon for coming on. Next week you got something else you want to add?
No, go ahead. Then I have
okay. I was just saying next week we don't have a show because I will be at a show. If you're in the Cleveland area at Shadows Bar, Parma Heights, if you come up to me and you say Billy Obey's a bitch, I'll give you a free Forever Face Alley sticker. So one last thing I'll mention before we leave is that for the fam live streams, I will highly suggest you take the day off and come back to the alley after the stream. We got something special cooking up for everybody. So I'll thank Gravity Bleeds, Bango Skank, Brandon Philbrick. Thanks for coming on. Like I said, it's been a while. I've wanted to have you on the show, so it's good to finally, hammer this one out. Yep. And like he said, Masks will be a couple weeks before he finishes up. We all know Billy Obey has his own method, but you will for sure get teases before the mask comes out. You know how Bill likes to do. So thank you guys for tuning in. It's been Luke Nukem, Bango Skank, Brandon Philbrick. Praise Zool, long live evil, and long live the alley.
I need somebody to make this song for me. Still with me?
Yeah.
The Crimson King, he had a clown. Bango was his name. Oh, Bango. Bango. Bang. Oh my fucking God!